Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Editor's Daily. If this is your first time coming to this channel, please don't make it your last. Please do well to subscribe as I make content on migration from Nigeria to Canada, my lifestyle and any other thing. Yes, so please do well to subscribe and like this video for other people to see. So you're here definitely to know the cost of relocating to Canada in 2024, right? So now, before I go into it, I would like to talk about two things. First of all, this video depends on, first of all, the cost you're going to incur depends if you're going to be doing the application yourself or if you're going to be using an agent. So I am not against using an agent. I'm not against it at all. What I usually advise is for you to know how genuine your agent is, and the best way to go about it is to look for referrals from people that an agent has helped, that have landed successfully without issues in their documentation, without any ban, without anything. You want to ask for referral from people that use agents. Agents are usually good most times because this is what they do daily. This is what they do daily. They'll submit a lot of applications for a lot of people. They have testimonials, they have success stories, and they've learned from their mistakes in other people's applications. So sometimes it is good to go through them. If you're too busy to make research, if your line of duty is you're too busy, or you just don't understand the whole process and you need someone to guide you, fine. But they come with a very, very expensive fee. Some of them charge as much as ₦1 million just for consultation, while if you decide to go with them, they have charges for any type of application. If you want to do visiting visa, express entry, student visa, work permits, they charge differently but heavily. And we have a lot of genuine ones. At the same time, we have those that are scams. So if you're going to be paying agent, then definitely it's going to add to your total cost of relocating to Canada. If you're going to be doing it yourself, you're going to be saving all those money to yourself and you're going to apply it to other things, because trust me, this journey is very, very expensive. It is very, very expensive. I get a lot of people asking me questions like, how much does it cost to relocate? How much does it cost to, and by the time I finish telling them, they are like, no, I'm not ready, or no, I don't think I'll ever do this, you know. So you need to be really, really ready, because it is very, very expensive to relocate, especially to any country outside the country. Outside Nigeria is very expensive. So this video is not just for Nigerians, because I know a lot of people watch from everywhere in the world. So relocation from wherever you are is really expensive. So the second thing I want to talk about is your proof of fund. So I'm not going to be including proof of fund as the cost of relocation, no, because the proof of fund is actually your money, is actually what you're going to use at the end. But the thing is that for the migration, you need to have it at the beginning of the whole process so that you use it at the end of the process. You understand? So your proof of fund, as you may know, is to prove to the government that when I relocate to Canada, when I land, I'm not going to be a burden to anybody. I'm not going to be on the streets begging. I'm not going to be under the bridge. I'm not going to be looking for where to sleep. I have enough money to last me for so and so months, you know, me and my family. So that is why every time they update the amount they need as proof of fund per person. So it all depends on how many you are in your family. If you are alone, the rate is different. If you are with if you're a family of 5, it's different. Family of 4 is different. So if I say family of 5, it means husband, wife, and 3 children. If I say family of 2, husband and wife. If I say family of 3, that's husband, wife, and the 1 child. Yeah. So the proof of fund is different for different families. So I'm going to be putting the chart, the current chart from CRA, from IELTS website. I'm going to be putting it here for you to see, to know if you're alone, if you're a family of 5, 6, 7, you know how much it's going to cost you. So I can't mention per family, but it's definitely here for you to see. So this proof of fund is something you're going to use when you land to get your rent, to rent your house, to buy your car, to buy your furniture, because you're not coming here with furniture, right? To settle down, to take care of yourself before you get a job, so that even if you stay 3 months without getting a job, your proof of fund is still available to use to fall back on. You shouldn't finish, you know. So that proof of fund is the most important part of this thing to me, because it has to sit in your account for at least 6 months, and it depends on what type of proof of fund you want. Okay, somebody is gifting you the money or something, but you need their criteria to show that this money is actually a gift, this money is not borrowed, this money is not going to be returned, nobody's going to be pressuring you to return the money at the end of the day. If they find out, then your application may not be approved. So this money you have to show evidence that this money is yours. It has to be in your own account, as at the time you are doing your application. So if you're going to be doing maybe like fixed deposit, because this process is actually very long. Some people's application process takes as much as 3 years, some people 1 year, some people 6 months. So you don't want to keep the money idle. So most people keep the money in a fixed deposit in a bank. You get a rate, you're going to fix it for 6 months or 1 year to be getting interest on it. So they issue you a certificate to show that Saadatu has a fixed deposit to so and so bank with this amount, and you're going to be matured in this amount. So the maturity date doesn't matter. It's what they want to see is that you have that money. Even if the maturity date is going to mature when you land the country, it's fine. They know it's going to be available for you as at when you land. So people use their pension contribution. Like if you're working with the government or private sector in Nigeria, you have pension contribution. You could use 25% of that amount as a proof of fund. If you don't know it, then know it now. You have to resign from where you're working, and after 3 months you have access to that money. So you could get a letter from your pension fund administrator showing that this is your balance and you're eligible for 1/4 of the amount. That's 25% of the total amount after 3 months. So after 3 months, you're already in Canada, you can access that 25% as a proof of fund. So they need that document to show. In case you don't have the full amount in cash. Like the most important thing I'm going to say is that your proof of fund has to be available as at the time you start this process. Alright, so before I go into the main cost, if you've not liked this video, please like this video right now so that other people will enjoy the video. YouTube tends to recommend videos that have a lot of likes, because it means people like it, and then YouTube senses that other people may also like it. So if the video doesn't have any like, nobody's going to watch it. So please like this video and subscribe, because I'm going to be giving more content. I have been giving a lot of content. If you're a new subscriber, you want to go into my old videos to see what I have done on migration, videos I've made about migration, about where I am in Winkler and all that. Yeah, please do well to subscribe. So now I'm going to be looking down at my jotter, because I can't carry everything on my head. So I'm going to start with the first one, getting your international passport. So there are some people that have gotten their passport already, and some people do not even have it at all. So you want to get international passport for every member of your family, or if it's only you, get it. So for my research before making this video, I see that to have for Nigeria, 64 pages of international passports that has 10 years validity costs 70,000 naira, and then for 32 pages that has 5 years validity, it costs 35,000 naira. So it all depends on which one you want, but if I would advise you to just go for the one that has 10 years validity, because you don't know when your application is going to go through. Like in my own case, I made my passport in 2019, and then we got permanent residency at the end of 2022. So I had already used up like 3 years in my passport, and currently I'm renewing it, and it is a lot of money to renew your passport. You need to renew your Nigerian passport because we are not yet citizen. We don't have any international passport yet, so it has to be valid as at when you're converting to citizenship. You just want to have a valid passport. You may want to even travel home and you have an invalid passport, even though you're the same. You can travel with a passport that is already expired, something. By the time you're coming, you need to renew it. You don't want to pass through all those hassles, and you don't want to spend so much money, because renewing it from abroad is really expensive. So you want to get 10 years validity of your international passport. And every member of the family, of course. Like in my own case, I was the only person that had it. My husband had it long ago. It had expired. He didn't bother renewing it. So around 2022, early 2021 was when my husband and my kids did their own. So theirs is still valid and mine expired, so I had to renew it, and it cost so much. In fact, you have to travel to Ottawa to renew your passport. It is that difficult, so you don't want to go through that. So the first most important thing is to get your international passport, because you need that international passport to do other things I'm going to be mentioning. So the second most important thing is to go for your WES. That is your World Educational Services. Yeah, it's like evaluating your credentials. So you're trying to evaluate your master's degree, your BSc, your HND, to see that it is equivalent to a Canadian master's, it is equivalent to a Canadian university certificate, you know. So that is the essence of the WES. Some people use WES, some people use ICAS and all that, depending on your profession, but majority of people use WES. I used WES to evaluate. So I advise you do your WES first, because the WES validity is for 5 years. After you've done your evaluation, that certificate is valid for 5 years. So you want to do that and keep it while you're preparing for the next step I'm going to be talking about, which is writing your IELTS examination. So the cost for doing your WES, as of today that I checked, is around 251 Canadian dollars, and that is around like 250,000 naira. So I'm just using a flat exchange rate of 1,000, because our naira is fluctuating. Today is 800 and something, tomorrow is 100 and something. So using 100,000, using 1,000 at exchange rate, the equivalent of 251 Canadian dollar is 250,000 naira. So that is the cost of doing your evaluation. And that is not the only cost, because you need to approach your university. If it's masters, you did BSc, whatever, you need to approach your university and tell them to send your transcript to WES. It is a normal process. They know, they do. You don't need to explain it to them. They already know, and they have fee. It's not free. They're not going to do it free for you. So different universities have different amounts they charge you, depending on how big your university is, or how whatever it is. I graduated from Madam Fudo University, Sokoto, and as at the time I did mine, everything was less than like 10,000. Yeah, but currently, when somebody else wanted to do it in the same university, he was talking about like 30,000. Some other people like Unilag, Abuja, Unical, they spend so much, and it is not even only that amount. You know, you have to, you know, our system now, you have to tip this, tip that person to fast track it, because you will go and then they'll tell you they'll send it and nobody's doing anything about it. After you pay the official money, you have to pay the unofficial one just for it to come out fast. So you have to budget at least 100k. Just keep 100k for your university to be able to send your documents from Nigeria to Canada. They know the process already. So before you do that, you want to download the WES app on your phone. Register, you get a reference number. The school is going to need a reference number to put on the envelope to send, so that it will reference you, so you can track everything on your app. So the reason why you should make sure it leaves is because on your app you will see that it has not left. Your WES has not received it, because when they receive it, they'll update your app that they've received it. When they send it back for confirmation, you will see it. So you need to follow it thoroughly. And one advice I give people is that if your school is able to give you your documents, your transcripts in that letter-headed envelope, not open, because it must not be opened. It has to come directly from the school. But if you doubt your school is going to send it at the right time, using a very reliable courier service, then request for them to give it to you, and you take it yourself to go submit either to DHL, FedEx, any of these postal services. Don't use NIPOS. I don't even know if NIPOS is still existing, but if you use NIPOS, then you are the cause of your problem. I'm not shading anything, but we all know what we're talking about. In my own case, I collected mine in the sealed envelope and everything. I took it myself. I used was it FedEx? I used FedEx, and I was tracking it. They gave me tracking number from FedEx. It was more expensive, but it was worth it, because I know my document is not going to get missing at the end of the day. So that is the second step. You do your WES evaluation. And after you get that, they're going to send an update on your app that has been done, and then they're going to send a certificate to you that you're going to download and keep. I think they'll send you a hard copy too, or so. Yeah, you just download it and keep for the next step. So while doing the WES evaluation, so while doing the WES evaluation, you're already preparing for the third step, which is to write your examination, right? So now the examination is an English proficiency examination called IELTS. So in Nigeria, you either do IELTS or you do CELTIP, or is it CELPIP or CELTIP or something? So I did IELTS, and IELTS has two bodies in Nigeria, either the British Council or the IDP MOD. Yeah, I wrote IELTS 2 times. Yeah, I wrote it twice. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I have people that wrote it 100 times or 10 times. I have people that wrote it 10 times. So I'm proud of saying I wrote it 2 times. So the first one I wrote with British Council, I didn't really do well. So I did the second one with IDP. I don't really see the difference. All I know is that for both examination, I did the computer based. I didn't do the paper one. I did the computer based. And as at the time I did mine, it was like 80 something naira, 80 something thousand naira. So now the cost, to my shock, is 285,000 naira to write your examination. So imagine failing it the first time and writing it the second time and failing, and the third time and failing. You don't want that to be your portion. No, it's small money, especially for people that have to travel from where they are staying to the state that has the center, because the center is not in all locations. I was in Sokoto State. I had to fly to Abuja twice. In fact, the flight was even more expensive than the examination I was even going to write, you understand? So you want to read, you want to study, you want to make your own research, you want to be ready. You can register now, and in 3 months time you go write the examination. Yeah, but you need to be ready. You don't want to have that. In fact, aside from the financial obligation, the money may not be your problem. What about the time? You have to take off time from your job. You need to travel. You need to read. That tension, that's, you need to just get it off your head, and so you need to study. There are a lot of reading materials. You go on YouTube. In my own case, the first time I concentrated 100% on a tutor. I paid a tutor to teach me, and he didn't teach me well. I made that video one time, how I feel my IELTS, and I wrote it twice, why it happened. I hired somebody, paid heavily, and not knowing that this guy himself has never even written IELTS. I got to the examination hall and I got to see a lot of things he didn't put me through. So I didn't make my own research. I just concentrated on him heavily. So the second one I read myself. I went on YouTube. I saw a lot of materials. Some people register for classes, they go online, or they go to the classes, and you need to be ready. It is worth it, especially now that it's so expensive, So the cost for IELTS is 285,000 naira. So after this stage and you pass, you are now eligible to go into the express entry. I say eligible only when you pass. So if in any of the IELTS examination modules, you have 4 modules, right? For the IELTS, you have writing, listening, reading, and speaking. In all the 4 modules, you need to get above 6 points. It's all over 9. Each module is over 999. In each module, you need to get above 6 points. If you get below 6 points, then if you apply to enter the express entry, it will show you are ineligible. You are not eligible to be in the express entry if you have below 6 points. So assuming you pass, you're now able to enter the express entry pool. So that is where you're going to put all your documentation, your international passport details, your name, your marital status, everything, your IELTS results, your WES. You're going to put everything and submit. So once you submit, they're going to send to you confirmation that you are now on the express entry pool, and at that point you're going to see what your CRS score is. Your CRS score is your comprehensive ranking system score, and it is that score that IRCC in Canada, the immigration service in Canada, uses to do weekly draw, bi-weekly draw, monthly draw to pick out people. Recently, to my surprise, the draw score has been so high, above 500. I don't know how or why. I just thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year and then later it to come down. But the express entry scores has been really high these days. But you still want to be on the pool, right? Because based on your profession, based on your job experience, you may fall into the other categories which I discussed before, where the government is picking people in different professions. Like if you're a health worker, if you're in agriculture, if you are in the STEM program like transport and all that, you are eligible for to be picked. Like the scores for those category based draws are usually very low. So for example, let me just use one. If in Nigeria you are in the agricultural sector, you've worked for more than 6 months, you have more than 6 months work experience, the government, they do draws for people in that sector and then they pick you. So it's another category based draw entirely. So you want to be on the pool with your CRS score. So now the next cost you're going to incur is if and when you get to ITA, which is invitation to apply. So now the invitation to apply is either from the express entry draws or from provincial nomination program. So now if you're lucky and your CRS score is high enough, they do the draws and they pick you, you get an ITA, right? And on the second hand, if a province comes into the pool with your low score and they see that, oh, I like this person, I like this person's profession, we want to pick people in tech, we want to pick people that are nurses, we want to pick people that are that are financial service workers also, they won't even look at your score. As long as you are on the express entry, they're going to pick you. I keep mentioning a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, who was on the express entry pool in Nigeria, and her score was very low. She didn't have any hope. The draws have been really high, the scores were really high, and hers was low. So she was trying to get a second master's or a certification to beef up her score on the pool, and she got ITA. The province, Nova Scotia, picked her. They just came to the pool to pick people that had experience in financial services. She was a banker back home in Nigeria, and they picked her. You know, she was so surprised. Currently she's in Canada now, like she's almost 2 years, you know. So you just want to be on the express entry pool. So when you get to ITA, then that is when they say invitation to apply. We're inviting you now to apply. So some people feel when they're on the express entry pool, they've started. To me, you've not even started, because you're just being on the pool to say, okay, I'm ready to be picked. It is when you get invitation to apply that you know that, yes. So if the express entry picks you, you are going to pay, currently you're going to pay about 1,525 CAD, which is equivalent to like 1.5 million if you convert it to Naira. So now that fee comprises of two things: the application fee, which is 950, and then the right of permanent residency, which is 575. So some people, you have the right to pay this, either pay the application fee first and pay for the rights for permanent resident later. But it is advisable to just do everything at once. If you have the means, just pay everything at once and submit your application. On the other hand, if it's a province that picked you, like I mentioned, like maybe Manitoba, like you have a relative, you go to their site. So I skipped something. So when you do your express entry application, when you go into the pool, you have the choice to also apply to all the provinces to tell them, I'm open to move to your province. I want to move to your province. That is when they will see that, okay, this person is on the pool and has express entry to also come to this province. So it's not all provinces you can indicate interest to, because some provinces have criteria. Like Manitoba, you need to have a relative, you need to, there's some stuff. So if you express entry, if you express interest, they pick you. So now if the province is the one that picks you, then you have to apply to that province also and pay another application fee to that province. To that province. But for Manitoba, from what I know, is that once you enter the express entry pool and you want to express entry interest to Manitoba, yeah. So for Manitoba, the application fee as at now is 500 CAD, which is like 500,000 naira, right? And then for other provinces, they have different rates. But I heard that that of Toronto is about 1,500. I think it's the highest application fee in a province. Like their own is highest. So for if Toronto picks you, then you have to pay 1,500 as the application fee. So you're paying express entry application fee, and then you're paying the province application fee. So anyone that applies to you, you pay. So if the province doesn't pick you and it is just from the pool they picked you, then it's 1.5 million, which is 1,525 I talked about. But if a province picks you, alongside that one, you're going to also pay for the application fee. So it is at that point that you need to start incurring other costs. Yeah, you've not finished paying anything. So now you will need to have police reports. The last time, as and when I did my police reports in Nigeria, I think we spent like less than 10,000. That was 2021. But as at now, I hear it is like 50,000 naira, and you have to apply for it online. So for each individual, that is of course the parents, for any place you've stayed longer than 6 months, is this 6 months or 6 years? 6 months, then you need to get police report for that place. So if you stayed in another place like in the UK for 6 months, you need to get police report from that place. It's part of the application process. So police reports, you need it when submitting the application. And then you need to do passport photograph. So the passport photograph, it has the specifications on the length, the breadth, the background, how it's supposed to be. And I recommend, if you're in Nigeria, you go to Studio 24. They already know when you go and say you need to make passport photograph, you want to relocate and all that, they already know the specifications that are going to charge you. Where I stayed, there was no Studio 24, so we had to teach them how to size the passport. In fact, they did it 3 times and they didn't get it right, so we had to teach them, because of course I said I came from Sokoto State. They didn't really have much people relocating and they didn't have much experience. So for the Studio 24, just budget like 50k depending on your family size. So the higher family size, the higher you're going to spend, because it's actually expensive to get that. Then you're going to do medicals. So for medicals, before I left, during my application time, you could do your medicals up front. You could do the medical up front while you're waiting for ITA, while you're waiting for them to call you, you know. But as when we left, you got to know that they need to tell you to go do your medicals before you can go to do the medicals. In fact, you need to upload a document from the IRCC for you to be able to apply for medical. So you cannot do medicals up front. And then the cost for the medical is, I'm going to put it somewhere here or here. So there are 2 bodies that do medicals in Nigeria. The first one is IOM and the second one is QLife. We used IOM because I didn't really understand the QLife. So the IOM, we did it in Abuja, and we're a family of 5, right? So we spent like 200 and something thousand for all of us to do it, and it has validity. So you just want to wait. You want to wait till they tell you to come and do it. I think it's valid for 1 year. So you want to wait for the IRCC to tell you to go to your medicals. So if you have a family, based on your family size, if the child is less than 5 years, on that child you pay 26,200. If the child is below 11, like 5 to 11 years, is 28,100. 11 to 15 years is 31,800. Then 15 years and above is 40,200. So already the mom and the dad is spending like 80,400. And then depending on the number of children, you're going to pay the other fee. So that is the fee for the medicals. So if you're not staying in a location that has those hospitals, because you can't just go to any hospital to do this, you need to fly, you need to book accommodation. In my own case, we had to fly, but we just use it as a vacation. We stayed with family and friends and all that. So that is the cost. So you want to budget that amount. And then after that, you get the invitation to go do your biometrics. So the biometric fee, you pay for every member of the family, but actually the mom and the dad, and I think anybody above 18 that goes for biometric, but you pay for the other kids. In my own case, it was just my husband and I that went for it, but we paid for the children, but they didn't need to come. Yeah, I think so. I hope I'm not making a mistake. It's really long, but I know it's just the adult. And the fee is okay, it's in the second page. You see how prepared I am for you guys? So for each person is $85. So if you convert it to naira, let's just say 85,000 naira. But if you are doing for 2 people, that's $170,000. That's 170,000 naira. So husband and wife, you do 170,000 naira to do biometrics, and you have to go to the location. Like in our own case, as I said, we still had to go to Abuja for all this. So imagine all the back and forth. And Sokoto to Abuja is not somewhere that you go by a road because of all the threats, kidnapping, insecurity. We had to fly. So imagine all those stuff. We really flew a lot. Oh God. Yeah. And then after doing the biometrics, of course, you know, at that point that you're quarter to go now, you're excited to even go. Like even when you go to do the biometrics, you see yourself, you see other people there, you'll be like, this person wants to jump, this person wants to run. Like you're quarter to go and you're happily paying that money, right? So you do the biometrics, and then the next thing you receive is you're ready for visa mail, which is as good as everything is done. Yeah, ready for visa mail. And at that point, it's requested for you to send your passport for stamping, for Canadian stamping, to stamp it. But as at the last time, when we left, Nigeria was not stamping passports. We didn't have IRCC. The IRCC office in Nigeria, the closest was Ghana, Accra. So we sent our own passports, all the family of 5. We sent all our passports through DHL. So we paid for it to go to Accra, but we sent it through Lagos. So I don't understand that, what happened. So actually Sha sent it to Accra, and it cost us 7,000 naira. So as at then, so I don't know the courier service you're going to use. We use DHL. You may use FedEx, you may use UPS, anyone. So they'll tell you how much it costs to take, and you need to pay for return. Very important. You're not just sending, nobody send it back to you. You pay DHL or whichever courier service to send it, and you pay for a return envelope. So when it's done, you put an empty envelope. They tell you how it is, you shall pay. So to and fro is like 3,500 at that time. So you pay, they give you tracking number, and then you're tracking everything to see if they've received it and all that. So some people send us to Ghana, some people send to UK, some people send to different other countries, but in our own case we sent it to Accra. And at that point, that was when we bought our tickets. We had confidence at any moment from that time we're going to everything was already done at that point. Actually we're already certain that Canada has already received us as permanent residents. So we just booked our ticket because the price kept going high and high. And as this happened in July, we sent our document for stamping in July, and we booked our flight in July for September, end of September. So the price was already really high. So we got our passports back, stamped and cleaned, and if I'm going to put a video somewhere of that's how we coming with the passport. Yellow sissy. Yellow sissy. When my husband brought the passport, I was really sick that day. I didn't go to work. And when I got notification that our passport has landed, DHL has been returned, I just call him in the office and say, whatever you are doing, just leave it and go and collect our passport. It's okay. When he closed, say, close what? Go now. I know the stories I touched. And then he brought it, and I was with my voice really down. I was dancing. I was happy, like we received our passport. So At that point, you book flights. Booking flights, you're on your own. Yeah, the one that say you want to leave the country, Abby. So you're going to pay rent. You're going to book flights, and if you have a large family, you will book for them. Yeah, the exchange rate is really crazy. I know as at our time, we paid about, for a family of 5, we paid about like 2.6 million, yeah, for our flights. Of course, as at that time, we had to book return ticket because at that time CBN gave us PTA. So the criteria for CBN to give you to change, we suffered for CBN to give you dollars in official rates, you need to show you're coming back. So we had to buy a ticket that was return ticket, even though we knew we needed a one-way ticket, even though we knew we're not coming back anytime soon. We have to spend to pay return tickets. So that was why we paid 2.6 million. But trust me, even these days that people are booking just one-way ticket, they pay even way more than that for a family of 5. Though at the end of the day, we're lucky we're able to talk to the airline after like a year. We applied to the airline that we are not returning back, we need a refund of our return ticket, and then luckily they paid us. We just decided to just try, and then they paid. And if you want to know which airline, in case it happened to you, we used Air France, yeah, that was the flight we used, and then we got our refund back. So that is that for that. That is the cost of relocation right now in 2024, and it is for if you want to go as a permanent resident to Canada. I hope this video is helpful to anyone that has watched it. If you know anybody that is planning to jackpot, if you know any group that wants to jackpot, you could forward this video to them. And please make your research. I've said a lot of things. I mean, have made errors, or I may not have been updated. Make additional research. Yeah, if you want to go through an agent, make your research, make sure the person is genuine, and the person must not even be in Canada. Like people tell me that if I must choose an agent to help me relocate to Canada, that person must be in Canada already. I'm like, not necessarily. The person can still be in Nigeria with you and help you. It's not everybody that wants to jackpot. Some people have the means to relocate and they say no, they don't want to leave Nigeria. They like Nigeria. They feel better off in Nigeria. So if you have an agent, as long as you confirm the person is genuine, it doesn't matter which location the person is. The person can actually help you. Alright, see you in my next video. Please don't forget to like this video. Please share and subscribe. Bye. See you in my next videos.